Good morning. Today's Tuesday, June 23rd. If you've been serving God for any period of time, you've probably become discouraged at some point. A few Sundays back, I preached a sermon from Acts chapter 3 about a man lame from birth who was then 40 years old, who was healed at the gate of the temple. The Bible tells us that he had been carried daily to the temple. Imagine, daily for 40 years. I'm sure that whoever it was that helped to carry him had times they were probably discouraged. One of my favorite preachers is W.A. Criswell. He pastored at First Baptist Church of Dallas for many years before he died. In his biography, author Billy Keith tells an interesting story about the man who led Dr. Criswell to Christ. W.A. Criswell was 10 years old when a Reverend John Hicks came to their small Texas town for revival. He stayed in the Criswell home for the 2-week event. One night, 10-year-old W.A. went forward and trusted Christ. Many years later, W.A. was telling a friend, Wallace Bassett, about his own conversion. And Bassett asked him to stop and repeat the name of that revival preacher. Dr. Criswell said, it was Reverend John Hicks. I can't imagine that, said Bassett. John Hicks was a close friend of mine. He was here in the Baylor Hospital the last few months of his life. I visited him several times. Just before he died, I was sitting beside him in the hospital, and he said to me, Wallace, my life is over. My preaching days are done. I don't think I've ever done much for Jesus. I failed. I failed. Those would be the last words that old preacher would say. Reverend John Hicks had no idea what that one revival in a small Texas town where one 10-year-old boy would be saved, and what an impact that would have on eternity. Keep serving. Keep witnessing. Jesus told us, some of us plant, some water, some tend to it, but we all have a part. Little is much when God is in it. Now stop and think about that.